While everyone is paying attention to the growing fight in Gaza, something big and surprising has happened with the war between Russia and Ukraine, which has been going on for more than a year and a half. While the Israel-Palestine conflict is making a lot of news, the change in the Russian-Ukraine war is unexpected and changes the story we have been hearing. Countries from the West, who used to all agree with each another, are now asking Ukraine to talk to Russia and think about making a deal. This is very different from what they used to say. This change can be seen in how Time magazine shows Ukraine President Zelensky just last year. They named him Person of the Year, but now they show him as if he's been left alone by other countries. There are stories that say Zelensky feels like the countries that were his friends have let him down. This might mean Ukraine is at a really important and serious point that could change its future. In today's video, we will see why the US and NATO failed in this war, and how, despite the media's propaganda and sanctions, Russia remains so powerful that all the NATO countries combined couldn't significantly impact it. Remember, these are the defining moments of the 21st century, as the world moves from American supremacy to a multipolar world. We're living in a time where instead of big naval forces, a small group of Houthis in Yemen have blocked the Bab el-Mandab Strait using low-cost weapons and blocking US and Israel trade routes. We're living in a time where United States soft power has weakened. The truth is that on the morning of February 24, 2022, Russia attacked Ukraine from three sides with 200,000 soldiers and several hundred tanks. The goal was to quickly reach and capture Ukraine's capital, Kyiv. Ukraine resisted this Russian attack for months with weapons supplied by the West. The United States and European countries have supplied billions of dollars worth of weapons to Ukraine. The Western media has been convincingly reporting that Putin's government is about to fall, but these are far from reality. Firstly, the Western media's claim that the Russian economy is collapsing post-sanctions is not true at all, because nearly 100 countries have not accepted the Western sanctions against Russia. Even major economies like India, China, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, South American countries have rejected these sanctions because Russia is a very important energy supplier. Russia has the world's largest natural gas, second largest coal, and sixth largest oil reserves. It is the third biggest military power. Before Russian-Ukraine war, India imported only 3% of its crude oil from Russia, but now it's importing 40%. Similarly, China and Russia have also developed an understanding, according to which China will provide infrastructure and labor for exploiting natural resources in the Russian areas along their borders. In return, Russia will supply oil and gas to China at half the price. This will also end China's dependence on oil coming through Strait of Malacca, which is a significant vulnerability. Similarly, America, which was at the forefront of imposing sanctions on Russia, according to the New York Times from 2022 to 2023, American companies have made payments of billions of dollars to Russia for buying nuclear energy. After the Western sanctions, all of Russia's trade has shifted to non-Western countries. Central Asian countries like Georgia, Kyrgyzstan, Armenia are acting as middlemen. All European goods come to these countries, and Russia buys European goods from them. There are reports that even now France and Germany are secretly trading with Russia through this route. Similarly, the Russian ruble has also bounced back to its pre-war levels, and the Russian government's smart planning played a big role in this. When sanctions were imposed on Russia and the ruble collapsed, the the government banned the purchase of foreign currency and forced Russian exporting companies to keep 80% of their profits in Russian rubles. Due to this import ban and high demand for the rubles, the Russian currency has bounced back to the highest level in the past 8 years. So in a nutshell, with a strong currency, alternative trade partners, and continuous supply of cash, Putin has built an economy such that Russia can sustain the Ukraine war for the next 5 years. But on the other hand, the Western economies, and especially Ukraine, may not be able to sustain this war for a long duration. That's why it's now becoming evident that America wants to withdraw from its war. In short, the America that always claimed that we won't back down without defeating Russia is now trapped in such a tight alley that it doesn't know whether to go forward or back. The decision on the Ukraine war now depends solely on the question of who can fight this war longer. The problem with Ukraine is that America and Western countries might supply them with weapons, but if their soldiers aren't trained enough to use them, then these weapons are of no use against Russia. And now, as another war has started in the Middle East, in which America and Western countries are directly involved, the Ukrainian president has started to realize that he is on his own because for America, Israel is more important than Ukraine. Finland has also seen United States treatment with Ukraine, and that's why they decided to be self-reliant, and in January 2024 decided to prepare for war themselves. Now, all the coverage in Western media is related to Israel and Palestine. You will hardly get any update on Ukraine. Not just the government, but at the public level also, you will see this shift. Last week, a poll was released in which 45% of American citizens said that America is giving too much aid to Ukraine, whereas just 5 months ago, only 24% of the Americans thought so. And now the biggest twist is that if Ukraine, following the advice of America and the European Union, makes a peace deal with Russia, it won't just be a defeat for Ukraine, but also for America and NATO. Defeat will be, because before the war it was claimed that we would not only push back the Russian army, but also capture territories up to Moscow. And now the situation is such that Ukraine might lose 20% of its area on the east side as a result of possible peace treaty. You will see that Western media will once again spin the narrative to present it not as a defeat, but as NATO becoming stronger after the conflict, because now Sweden and Finland have also become members of the NATO. The entire fault was actually of Ukrainian President Zelensky. Due to his poor leadership, we have reached here, and so on. But this time, building this narrative will not be so easy, because despite spending billions of dollars, all of NATO has faced is defeat, which will send a message to the entire world that now America and NATO are not as powerful, and the real power lies with some other countries. To break this perception, America will once again assure Taiwan that there is no need to fear China. We are with you. But let's stop here and ask a simple question. If America and NATO's 30 countries together could not stop Russia, whose economy is not even 10% of China's, then how can the same America and NATO fight against China? Therefore, Taiwan should think very carefully and consider whether America wants to use Taiwan as a proxy against China, like Ukraine, and whether Taiwan and might be like Ukraine's. People in America are now questioning the government if after spending so much money and ruining the entire economy, a peace treaty was to be made. Then what was the need to pump up Ukraine in the beginning? 6 years ago, American political analyst John Mearsheimer predicted that if America got NATO and Ukraine into a war against Russia, the only outcome would be that Ukraine would be destroyed and the American economy would collapse. On the other hand, China is investing very rapidly in different countries of the world, whether it to be South America or Africa. And as a result, globally, China is now being portrayed as a world power. That's why last month, representatives of 13 countries attended at the 10th anniversary of the Belt and Road Initiative in China. It was a significant sign that the world is now looking towards the east instead of the west. Thank you very much for watching my video. If you like, please subscribe.